Joining me now, three of the country's best political analysts: James Toronto of the Wall Street Journal, Errol Lewis, columnist, New York Daily News, Miguel Perez, syndicated columnist. Gentlemen, good to have you with us. 21,000 troops. Is it going to work?
I think the question is less the number of troops than whether the military has got itself a new strategy, has learned the lessons of its previous failures and its successes here and there with counterinsurgency. David Petraeus is the guy who led some of the few successful counterinsurgency efforts they've had. He's now in charge of Iraq, so it's all up to him, I think.
Yeah, well, the co-author, in point of fact, of a counterinsurgency strategy for the Army, Errol. What do you make of all this?
Well, you know, the problem, and it runs all the way through the counterinsurgency manual that Petraeus worked on, is that it assumes that there'll be a central, stable government that's not involved in all of the sectarian fighting. And the point of the counterinsurgency is to prop up and to help that central government operate efficiently and effectively and stabilize the country. The existence of that central government that's not participating in the bloodshed and the militia activity and the counterstrikes and all of the religious civil warfare, it's not clear. Everything you see about it suggests that there are elements of the police force, there are elements of the government itself that are in league with Shiite or Sunni or former Saddam loyalists.
Some people have characterized this situation as a mess. Do you agree with what Errol's saying?
It's a huge mess, and it's just, you know, we are going into police a civil war. It's not a war between Americans and Iraqis. It's a war between Sunnis and Shiites, and we cannot win that war. The war was between Americans and Iraqi when we first went in there. It stopped being that a long, long time ago. And it's also a question of whether we can confide or believe in the Iraqi government and all its promises.
Yeah. What about the credibility of this administration, this government, this Congress, either political party on the issue of Iraq? Neither party has distinguished itself, but the Republican administration has responsibility for the conduct of this war. I can recall vividly the president talking about all that political capital he had garnered with the election of 2004. James, he has spent that and more. If I've ever seen a man in deficit with political capital, it's him.
Yeah, sad but true. There's no way he gets his political capital back unless this is a military success.
And the military leaders are telling us, Errol, that it can't be won militarily.
Well, and they're absolutely right. And the mantra all along has been, we're going to do what the generals tell us. That's what the generals are telling us. They're going to send these boys and girls over there. They're going to clear out every neighborhood that they're asked to clear out. And it still is not going to accomplish what the stated goal was.
You know, over the past week, I've talked with the House Armed Services Committee chairman. I've talked with the Senate Armed Services Committee. Both men holding hearings, moving straight ahead on this issue. Bob Gates, the defense secretary, says it will not happen. This escalation, surge, troop increase, reinforcements, whatever you want to style it, won't happen until February. Do you think the Democratic Congress will stop support, that is, appropriation support for the war?
I think the Democrats are afraid of stopping it, especially stopping the funding for it, because if we end up losing the war, then they may get blamed for it. And that's the bottom line here. The Democrats are willing to criticize, but they're not coming up with a solution themselves either.
Well, and furthermore, everyone pretty much recognizes that it would be catastrophic if we just pulled out, as the Iraq Study Group said. And so, you know, only the most ideological Bush haters want to do that. And the problem is right now we have three options. We have total withdrawal, which would be a disaster. We have the Bush plan, and we have the status quo, which is already a mess.
The Bush plan is we've also got some other plans there. Let's be fair. We've got the plans of the generals in theater that were rejected. We've got the plan of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and their views, which have been rejected, describing, as Jamie McIntyre here reported this evening, they're describing their consultation as unanimous disagreement on this plan. There are other policy options here. So it's not really that black and white.
Well, I don't see any of them coming out of the political system, though.
Yeah, well, the political system. What about the government system? What in the world has happened to governance in this country? Because everywhere you turn right now, and this is not simply, certainly George W. Bush is going to be judged, I think, harshly for the conduct of the war in Iraq. think he's going to be judged harshly on a number of issues. But my gosh, these two political parties right now, what they have accomplished over the last decade is frighteningly feeble.
Well, it reminds me in a way of what was said around the funeral of Gerald Ford, that this was somebody who just fell on his sword politically, so to speak, that he issued a pardon which, right or wrong, was what he thought was right, and it didn't work for him politically, but he went ahead and did it anyway. What we have right now, what I see in Washington, is both parties, a lot of people in government are really jockeying to see on whose watch are we going to have one of those end of Vietnam scenes when the last helicopter is being thrown into the sea and the nation's credibility is being torn to shreds.
We'll be right back with these gentlemen and a lot more. Stay with us.
Here's a radically simple suggestion from eLoan. Spend too much money spreading the holiday cheer? Consolidate your debt with a home equity loan and pay one low monthly rate. Just call 1-800-TRY-eLoan or go to eLoan.com. eLoan. Radically simple.
What does it mean when we say no one can do what Countrywide can? It means if other lenders can't get it done, we can. It means we can offer home loans to get cash fast, to pay off credit cards or remodel a kitchen. It means as your life changes, our loans can change with you, to lower your payments or to help pay for college. It means with more good loans for more good reasons. No bank, no lender, no one can do what Countrywide can. Call us 1-800-CAN-DO-88.
Fantastic. Quality.
Wow.
Thanks to the latest Bose technology, it is now possible to have for the first time the same noise reduction benefits in on-ear headphones as we achieved in the award-winning Quiet Comfort 2 around-ear headphones. And now you can choose your preferred style, QC2 or the new QC3 headphones. Wear them when you fly to experience less noise at the flick of a switch. And create your own private sanctuary. Originally designed for planes, owners tell us about other uses, less distraction at work, to unwind after a hectic day, or to find your own space.
Sound quality is fantastic. Peace.
Order QC2s or the new smaller QC3 headphones. Try them risk-free for 30 days. Order by January 31st for a free MP3 player, and you can make 12 easy payments. Quiet Comfort headphones. Hear the difference Bose technology makes.
Larry King tonight. Country star Wynonna Judd.
Man, I get goosebumps.
CSI's Gary Sinise.
It wasn't about me. It was about them.
Unforgettable stories of courage and caring inside the Fisher House for Wounded Troops. Larry King, tonight 9 Eastern, only on CNN.
Closed captioning provided by Head On. Head On applied directly to the forehead.
Head On, apply direct.
Head On, apply directly to your forehead. Head On, apply. Head On. I can't stand your commercial, but your product is amazing.
Head On is available without a prescription.
Tuesday night at 8, accused, arrested, and all but convicted in the court of public opinion. What role did race play in the Duke rape case? We're bringing it all out in the open Tuesday night, 8 Eastern.
We're back, and Miguel's just asked the question, how does all of this affect those who want to be president in 2008? I'm not sure I quite care yet, but Miguel, what do you think?
I think it's very damaging to John McCain. He's the one that advocated additional troops.
He's still advocating.
He's still advocating. He wanted a lot more, though, and Bush didn't give him a lot more, an overwhelming force. But still, voters in 2008 are going to tie John McCain to Bush's policy, and I think it's detrimental to him. I like John McCain. I'm sorry to see it happen.
Yeah, there's a lot happening to those candidates. Barack Obama is awfully sensitive about his ears. Hillary Clinton is doing poorly in the caucuses, in some early polls. What do you make of it?
Well, I'll tell you, actually, to go back to McCain for a minute, it may look unwise from the standpoint of predicting what will work in Iraq, but if he picks up the 30 to 32% who are still with President Bush, that may be enough to get him through the primary season. And that's where all of these folks are. They're going to be looking to play to the extremes of the parties, at least in the early rounds, and then try to migrate back to the middle sometime before November of 2008.
Well, are these political candidates, and best I can tell, every one of them to a person, is in favor of amnesty for illegal immigration? Not a one of them has advanced a plan to urgently secure these borders and ports of ours that remain absolutely wide open. Not one of them has put forward a reasonable, urgent plan to save public education, take control of public education. What in the world are we watching here? A dance of personalities and politics as usual?
Well, we're watching a wide-open presidential race for the first time since 1952, and I think we're looking at a lot of candidates who are trying to play it cautious right now. Perhaps if somebody comes out and acts more boldly, that will be to his benefit. But we haven't seen it yet. Or hers, sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, a lot of the freedom that candidates had in years past is just gone. I mean, they know that Lou Dobbs will be watching every statement, and it'll be blasted out. Any misstatements will be blasted out.
And a million other folks.
Well, that's right. With the internet, digital radio, all of that stuff. And so people, I think, are going to try and push the other guy forward and let them take the first bullet.
The idea that all of this is being judged right now, and we're guilty of it ourselves as we sit here, as I listen to us. We're talking about this in political terms, this war in Iraq, with 3,000 Americans dead, 22,000 wounded, almost 11,000 of them so seriously they can't return to duty. The issues are too profound to simply be talking about the Republican and the Democratic opportunities or pitfalls politically. As a nation, we have exceeded our limits as a superpower. We have exceeded our bounds in national values, and no one is articulating a national vision. When is this going to change?
Unfortunately, as long as the next election and the next election and the next election, that's American politics. That's how they work.
But it has always been so.
It's self-preservation.
But it's always been so, Miguel. These elections have been coming around every 24 months for a very long time, thank God.
Sure, but the basics have always been that, you can't win the game if you're not in the game. So that the first duty of every politician in their mind is to get reelected.
And when you look back at a president like Reagan, who we now view as a success, he certainly had moments when he looked very weak and the country looked like it was in trouble. And, we came back. I don't know that the current president or his predecessor or his successor will necessarily be viewed that way. But we do have to take the long view. And if the country needs a stronger vision, it'll come along eventually.
Spontaneous combustion in national ideas and vision. I would like to be able to share with you that faith-based view of our future. I'm too much shackled to cause and effect. Thank you very much. James, good to have you here. Harold, thank you very much. Miguel, thank you. Thanks for joining us tonight. For all of us, thanks for watching.